Hi Aries, here's a general look at your solar chart for May 2013, and there's a couple of eclipses this month. The first one's on May the 10th, and it's a major one. It's a solar eclipse which can be viewed from the southern hemisphere, and it's in Taurus, and it will be particularly strongly affecting all the fixed signs. That's to say Taurus, Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius. But as far as you're concerned, that falls into your house of stuff, basic stuff. That's money and property and any kind of possessions, objects of desire that you want to get your hands on, objects that you want to take down the dump, resources of various kinds that you can capitalize on, and of course that includes your own talent, your own self as well. So the energy of change comes into that part of your solar chart. It doesn't have an opinion, it's not good or bad, it's just the energy of change. So it's up to you to point it in the right direction and then to steer it in the way you want. The other eclipse is a lunar eclipse that's happening in Sagittarius on the 25th of May. And that's in a really very good angle to your sun sign. Sagittarius is another fire sign, so it chimes in very well with your own. And it's very expansive, that one, for you, meaning that this energy of change can take you into new territories or to new dimensions of thought. Some of you might sign up for a course or start, training in something informally. Learning. It's a very strongly communications area, and it's an area to do with travel as well. The effects of the lunar eclipse is lesser to that of the solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse energies pulse out for about a month, but the solar eclipse energies pulse out for 6 months. So any change, if you decide to sort of choose to use the energy of change for something that you want to improve, then that energy will be pulsing out for the 6 months. And it's often a good thing to do it on the day of the eclipse itself, to take one step in the direction that you want to go in, because the wave of the energy will pick up on that, and it could then manifest a little bit more easily for you. And then there's one other thing I wanted to say about the day of this lunar eclipse, is that there is a sort of a kind of a tangle up with Neptune on that day. So possibility of being too castles in the air or idealistic, possibility of distorted perception in some way. It's not a very earthy planet. It's kind of ethereal. It's very spiritual and it's very healing. It can be, but it can also be delusional as well. It depends. It depends on your natal chart. But what I would say is, don't make any major decisions on that day, because there is this air of unreality around, and you want to be feeling very realistic when you make a major decision. Also on the 27th, there's a very idealistic vibe around. That's a very nice one, actually, and it's in a good area for you, expanding your mind into new dimensions of thought. New dimensions of experiencing potentially there, and that's just simply when Mercury goes over Jupiter. So I thought I'd mention that one because it's quite near to the eclipse. And having said all that, now I want to get on to other business. In this month of May, finances and property and all of that basic stuff, roof over the head, food in the tummy, money in the piggy bank, and whatever the projects are, or the incoming is, or the outgoings are, or the assets are, will have more of your attention, or you're trying to get organized, at least on those basic levels, with resources, whatever those resources are. So some of you would have to consider the financial side of things, maybe casting around for ways to improve your lot. Some of you might have your mind directed towards property or possessions, objects, as I said, going down the dump or getting hold of more, or maintaining what you have, repairing what you have even, protecting what you have possibly. And also another way this works is this is the house of talents. So it's to help you to develop further your talent, your inborn gifts, and you most certainly will have at least one. So it's up to you to realize that you can capitalize on something that is God-given, if you want to put it that way. So making the most of your patch of ground, whatever that's about for you. It could actually be outside in the garden as well. Then from the 21st, the sun, or the pots on the windowsill, the sun is in a very, it's amazing how much you can grow out of pots, carrots and tomatoes, you say tomato maybe, and maybe cucumbers and peppers, and there's a lot of things you can grow out of pots, and it would be very wise to be doing that these days. From the 21st, the sun then goes into a very sort of communications orientated area, meeting, greeting, getting on with other people, corresponding, educating, you educating people or they're educating you, perhaps sharing what you know a little bit with others in this meeting, greeting sort of exercise you're on, but definitely correspondence, paperwork, education, and maybe more toing and froing, getting out and about is going to be emphasized as well. Until the 16th, conversations tend to have a very practical slant. That's because Mercury's in the same place as the Sun. Resources like money, property, possessions, all of that could be any of that or all of that, but things like that could be on your mind, and perhaps some of you also your thinking could be revolving around buying, selling, lending, borrowing, leasing, renting, but matters fiscal and also matters material, but also matters physical as well, because this area is sort of related to your health via, what you're putting through your body every day, and maybe some of you want to be looking into those sorts of resources. And of course maximizing your natural gifts. And then from the 16th, Mercury continues in a very outgoing, chatty, communicative area, goes into the area where the Sun will be on from the 21st, and that will emphasize communications, media, creative self-expression even, although creative self-expression might be already being emphasized because of Venus having gone in there a little bit before Mercury, and again looking on how to capitalize on this or that or the other thing, but plucking information, gathering information, nuggets of information, very useful information. And then from the 31st, Mercury moves for the last time in May, and will settle into the root of your solar chart, which is about family, neighborhood, property, physical space, outside, inside, and also to do with your feelings, and you considering a legacy or looking back to a tradition or feeling a bit nostalgic about this or that or the other, and very much the mind being on in that sort of gear, and that will be there until 9th of August. So whatever is going on for you, feelings might be nearer the surface, and communications between neighbors, family, extended family, tribe could kind of touch you a little bit, or in fact push a button. Now until the 10th, Venus is in the same area as the Sun, and is going to be until the 21st. So Venus is there until the 10th, meaning that you can do quite well in that quite materialistic area of your chart, and even better, if you kind of work on manifesting what you want. Venus tends to ease things materially wherever she goes. She kind of opens up a flow, but just be careful you're not putting your hand in your pocket a little bit more. But something nice could be in the pipeline and just drop into your lap with Venus there. And of course Venus is going to help you to realize your natural talents. Also another thing about Venus there is that you and someone could team up, and you enjoy that kind of togetherness feeling, and definitely it can give a boost to love relationships of all kinds. Then Venus moves into your communications sector, and then it makes what you're hearing around you seem more appealing or entertaining, and you could have more access to environments or people where there's entertainment or maybe something artistic going on. And it could also bring supportive relations with siblings, brothers, sisters, but also soul brothers and sisters. And you can do quite well in negotiation type situations, buying, selling, promoting type things, but also in this sort of situation too, where you can just come across as being quite fluent and articulate, and just seem to strike the right balance in what you're saying because of Venus's balancing effect. And then Mars is your ruling planet. Mars is going to be in that very basic materialistic, financial, property orientated area until the 31st. And that means that you will be maybe using energy, resolve, decision, initiation centered around the piggy bank, possessions, property, any other bit of territory which needs a firm and motivated and decisive approach, or people who are involved in it as well might be looking to you a little bit to take the lead, or maybe you just do take the lead, which is totally up your street, Aries. It might be around certain bits of kit, that initiation and decision is needed for. Mars can be a bit impulsive, as you might know, it being a ruling planet. So just don't be hasty with anything, and don't make snap decisions related to anything important like money, property, possessions. But you can get things more how you want them to be with the energy of Mars here backing you up, but just don't overstretch yourself. And then from 31st, Mars goes into your solar communications sector, and then you can be very you can feel that others around you are being demanding. Actually, you can feel that others around you are being assertive, but in fact Mars here makes you more assertive as well. So it's almost like the mirroring effect happens. You, on the plus side, you should start to feel more confident about making certain decisions and able to define certain objectives more clearly. You can be very proactive with all kinds of communications, media, promotions, etc., or simply speaking up and expressing yourself in a kind of more a bolder kind of way. But it might not be like that at all. It might be more to do with physical communications. You may be getting out and about more, and it can involve transport vehicles and also communications equipment. So just be careful there, because Mars is hasty side sometimes, and you can trip up there. So just be aware of that, but you'll be firmly in the flow of information exchange and coming across in a more decisive kind of a way, in a sort of a way where you can lead and initiate as well. Now, Jupiter's expansiveness will continue in this very communication orientated area for a little while longer, comes out of there in late June, and Jupiter's been there since last June, so it generally means that you learn a lot more when you're going out and about every day. You could have access to a sort of hub of activity, which is kind of a learning resource for you. It could be informal, but it could obviously be formal as well. And getting out to places or mixing with the sort of people that you're not used to, or you weren't up until a year ago anyway, or nearly a year ago. So new pathways have been carved in your mental landscape and continue to be so right up until Jupiter leaves there. And you Arians born 5th to 14th of April, or with 16 to 25 degrees rising, are going to feel this energy the most this month. Saturn has moved into Scorpio and your 8th house. Now at least Saturn isn't opposing your sign anymore, which is a relief, because that was extremely confrontational and made you feel hassled by people, opposite numbers and close relationships. So now it's in the 8th house, which ultimately is a gear change house. It's the house of transitioning from one way of being or stretch of road in your life to the next. It's got just a little bit under 2 years to run, and some of that transforming energy could involve or revolve around what you're used to in a joint situation, joint interests, joint property interests, joint finances, relationships obviously, and maybe your own bad habits. So you become more aware of, over this time frame, how you need to build new foundations there, and maybe completely going into building something new for yourself alongside what you've got going at the moment, because it takes a long time with Saturn for change to come. And so you'll be slowly transitioning into this fresh way of being or doing something or being with someone, or in fact, some previous contracts or agreements or relationships or places on the maps or jobs can come to an end and something fresh start, but you need to go along with the old before then you can just step across to the new. And Saturn's retrograding at the moment, so you Arians born between 25 to 29th of March, or with 5 to 9 degrees rising, are going to be feeling the energy the most this month, and it can be a little bit slow with a retrograding planet as well. The last three, the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, move very, very slowly month to month. And so, and if you want to know where they are and how they may be influencing your sign, and also which part of your sign they're going to be influencing this month, then just go to my website, that's on there. And that's it for May. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, find the forecast for that, and then you listen to that. It'll add to or subtract from what I've said here. It'll give you another slant on it anyway. And I'll see you the next